When I Fall by Scarlet Emerald 32. Chapter 47.
Link, you're starting to get a bit of cluster going. See, what you want to do is spread the ornaments out so they cover the whole tree.
Hate to break it to you, Haircut, but he's 3. Proper tree decorating etiquette is probably still outside his skill set.
Talisa walked in from the kitchen and sat down on the couch with her mug of tea.
I have full faith in his organizational capabilities.
But isn't a crazy, chaotic Christmas tree when they're this age kind of the point?
Yeah, Haircut.
Teddy agreed with a mischievous grin at his father. Talisa snorted with laughter and almost choked on the sip of tea she'd just taken.
That's Daddy Haircut to you, young man.
Teddy giggled in response as Talisa turned to look at the snow falling outside the window.
It's really starting to come down out there. You think the people from the kingdom are okay?
I'm sure they're fine. Michonne and Daryl are leading the relocation expedition. If the weather gets too hairy, I have every confidence they'll find an appropriate place to shelter for the night.
I just hope that appropriate place doesn't end up taking them through her territory.
Eugene looked over at the boys who were still happily putting ornaments on the tree, and then at her. He got up and came to sit beside her on the couch, wrapping an arm around her as he did.
I know the loss is still raw for you. Believe me, it is for me as well. When Michonne told us they were taking the kingdom's residents to Hilltop, I momentarily forgot and imagined it with Tara still there. But as far as our safety is concerned, I truly do not think you have cause for concern. It's been 3 months and we've heard not hide nor hair from Alpha. She seems to be genuine in her assertion that she has no further interest in Lydia, and she's sticking to a live and let live scenario. As horrible as it's been, as far as big bads go, I think so far we've gotten off easy with this one.
I know. You're right. It's just... I hate feeling powerless, you know? In some ways it feels like the Savior's all over again. Like, we're just playing by her rules and letting her be in charge. I know this is completely different. She's not asking anything of us, except to leave her alone. It just grates, you know?
I do.
Eugene kissed her temple.
But I would also point out we have 2 very compelling reasons to play nice now. Soon to be 3.
He placed a hand on her round stomach.
As always, you make an excellent point, husband. And thanks for putting up with your ornery, stubborn wife.
The only kind I ever wish to have, I assure you.
She smiled as she leaned back to kiss him.
Ew, stop being yucky.
Speaking of ornery...
Suddenly, all the lights in the house went out at once, plunging them into semi-darkness. Lincoln jumped up and ran to the couch where Talisa scooped him into her lap.
It's okay, baby. The power just went out. Nothing to be scared of.
I suppose I'd better go have a look at the grid.
Eugene got up from the couch, heading for the door. By the time he'd gotten his boots, coat, and hat on, and was getting ready to head out, there was a knock on the door. He opened it to find Gabriel and Rosita standing there.
Great minds think alike, I see. We were just coming over to see if you could go check out the grid and see what's going on.
On it. I'll be back in 2 ticks. Possibly 3 if the problem is straightforward and within my skill set to fix.
Don't take too long. It's getting worse by the minute out there.
Roger that.
Eugene nodded to him and pulled his scarf over his mouth as he headed out into the heavily falling snow.
Hey, Ro.
Hey, little man. You guys decorating for Christmas in here?
Yeah, but the lights turned off.
Oh, I know.
Rosita sat in one of the chairs and Lincoln climbed into her lap.
But your daddy's gonna get that figured out.
Ro, you're having a baby, right? Just like my mom?
That's right.
Is your baby a girl?
I don't know, bud. We can't find that out until it's born. Why do you ask?
I just thought it'd be cool if your baby was a girl, 'cause then my new sister would have a best friend, just like Lincoln and I have RJ, and Judith has Gracie.
Your new sister? What makes you think your new baby is going to be a girl?
Rosita looked over at Talisa, who raised her hands and shrugged as well.
Don't look at me. He's been saying that ever since we told him about the baby, and he's very confident. I don't really have an inkling one way or the other, so I guess we'll see if his hunch is correct.
It's not a hunch, I know.
Right. Sorry for doubting you, bud.
Talisa shot an amused look in Gabriel and Rosita's direction. The front door opened again and Eugene came back in, bringing a swirl of snow with him. He stomped off his boots and removed his hat before walking further into the room.
I did a systems check on the state of the array as requested, and the solar panels are no bueno until the storm clears. Best bet is to go old school to keep toasty. I'd advise Winter 1 ice storm protocol.
The meeting room, Aaron's house, and Barbara's have the largest fireplaces. We'll divide into those. I'll get the word out. We'll gather up dry firewood, stock up, get cozy, and ride it out.
We can't leave Negan. He'll freeze down there. We have to let him out.
I swear to God, I've memorized every square inch of this room, and it still feels like a party.
Negan said as he looked around the meeting hall with a grin.
A never-ending party from hell.
Rosita retorted as she checked the manacle that held him firmly to one of the beams.
I mean, sure, all right. It smells like a goddamn barn and we're all bored shitless.
Hey, language!
Teddy snapped from his place at the table with RJ, and Negan raised his hands in apology.
Right. My bad. I forgot. Sorry about that, Mr. Porter.
Rosita's gaze snapped back to him, and she walked quickly across the room.
How the hell do you know his name?
Shoot.
Negan looked over at Teddy.
Didn't mean to rat you out, kid. My bad on that, too.
He looked up at Rosita.
He told me when he stopped by my cell a few months ago to ask me why everyone thinks I'm a bad guy.
Rosita whirled around to look at Teddy.
You talked to him? Theodore Abraham Porter, what the hell were you thinking? Do you have any idea how mad your mom and dad would be if they knew?
Hey, take it easy on him. He was just curious. And he did a damn good job of keeping things close to the chest, though. Now that you bring it up.
He raised an eyebrow at Rosita.
Seeing as we're all stuck here, maybe you can confirm a little theory I've been working on.
Oh, this should be good.
Sadiq muttered from his spot next to the fire.
See, when fine young Mr. Porter here showed up at my window this fall with his head of glorious hair and a vocabulary that's got to be at least high school level in a 5-year-old, I got to thinking that I'm pretty darn sure I know whose genetic makeup created that exceptional little human.
I've done an inventory of our available dry firewood, and at our current rate of consumption, I believe we should be A-OK for at least another 12 hours.
Eugene said as he came in through the back door of the hall.
And there he is now. Welcome to the party, Eugene.
Hello?
Eugene looked around uncertainly at all of them.
Is there an ongoing conversation I need to be made aware of?
You bet there is. See, I was just telling Rosita here that this fall, while all of you were away dealing with that freaky alpha chick, one Theodore Abraham Porter made a visit to my cell to have a talk.
Eugene's eyes widened slightly as he looked quickly over at his son, who looked back guiltily.
And that reaction just told me everything else I need to know. He's your kid, isn't he, Eugene?
I'm sorry, Daddy. I just wanted to know why everyone said he was a bad guy.
Come here, buddy.
Teddy jumped up and ran into Eugene's arms where he picked him up and hugged him.
It's all right. I understand your curiosity. It's natural. But if you ever have questions about something like that again, you come and talk to your mother or me, okay?
Yes, Daddy, I promise.
Judith?
Eugene looked over at her by the window, and she looked back.
There's a deck of cards on the mantel. How's about you take RJ and Teddy over in the far corner by the fire and teach them the finer points of Go Fish?
Judith looked from him to Negan, and then back before finally answering.
Yeah, okay. Come on, boys.
As the three kids moved out of earshot, Eugene walked over and squatted down so he was eye to eye with Negan, resting his elbows against his knees.
I'm aware that, as far as physical prowess is concerned, you are superior to me in the majority of ways, but I ask that you hear me when I say this to you.
He leaned in slightly closer.
If you ever attempt to manipulate my son or play any sort of mind game on him whatsoever again, I will use every amount of brain power and ingenuity at my disposal to devise the most painful and prolonged means of execution for you I can imagine. And as you well know, my imagination is damn near infinite.
Holy shit, Eugene. Look at the balls on you. Fatherhood looks good on you, my friend.
We are not friends.
No, I guess we're not. But you are also sure as shit not the guy I brought back to the sanctuary 6.5 years ago either, are you? 'Cause I gotta say, the guy in front of me right now,
Negan gave a low whistle and shook his head.
I damn well wouldn't have tried to manipulate. I would have shot you on sight.
Then I'd say it's a mighty good thing for me that you ended up where you did.
Eugene stood and walked back to the table in the center of the room, where one of the heaters was lying in pieces.
You wouldn't happen to be willing to tell me who your little man's mom is, would you? 'Cause I'll admit, ever since I met him, I've been damn curious, gotta tell you. I never pictured you having the stones to get over sassy pants.
Eugene ignored him, picking up one of the pieces of the heater and beginning to tinker with it. Negan continued, undeterred by Eugene's dismissal.
I've seen Laura walking past my window every once in a while. From how chummy you two were when you joined up with me. I always wondered, you finally closed the deal there?
Don't you have anything better to do than harass him about his personal life?
Actually, I don't. Unless you'd like me to shine a spotlight on yours instead. 'Cause I gotta say, as much as I'd love to find out who let good old Eugene knock 'em up, the little love triangle you've got going on over here is just as entertaining to me. Hell, everywhere I look, it's another drama unfolding. It's like Christmas.
Maybe they're just as miserable at Aaron or Barbara's.
Rosita huffed appreciatively.
So, Gabe, your girl's doctor is also your girl's baby daddy, which kinda begs the question. Do you ever wonder what the hell's going on in there when she has her checkups?
Gabriel gave a hard smirk and shook his head as he stepped closer to Negan.
You could at least try to be a little less predictable.
Gabe, that hurts, truly.
Negan put a hand over his heart.
We're all grown-ups here, and none of us would ever let that ruin the long-standing friendships and mutual respect we have.
You know what? You're right. That's a very mature attitude, Father. Not the father.
Negan saw the corner of Eugene's mouth twitch from where he was still focused on repairing the heater, and he smiled up at Gabriel in satisfaction.
Is that unpredictable enough for you, Gabe?
Jude, get back from the window.
Judith had gotten up from her corner and had pressed her face to the glass.
You still worried about that mutt, kiddo?
Daryl told me to take care of him while he helped the kingdom move, and I don't know where he is.
Hey, does anybody else smell something?
Oh, can you just stop being an asshole for like 5 minutes?
Actually, I agree with him. Something does smell funky in here.
Eugene's head snapped up and he whipped around to look at the fireplace.
Get away from there!
He pulled Sadiq and Gabriel back just as a plume of fire erupted from the hearth.
As I suspected,
Eugene pulled his head out of the now dark fireplace.
the chimney flue is completely gunkified. What singed your nostrils earlier was no doubt a toxic mixture of creosote and H2O. Blizzard's done some tearing and blaring, and our chimney's ventilation capabilities are nil to none. It'd be unwise to spark up another blaze lest we plan on ceasing all respiratory functions, aka smoking and choking.
God, I missed you, Eugene.
Can't say the same.
Suddenly, the doors of the hall burst open and Talisa came running in covered in snow.
Well, look who it is. Join the party, sassy pants.
What the hell are you doing here?
Nora said she saw a flash and thought she heard a loud bang from over here. I was worried.
So you decided to come out on a solo mission in the middle of a blizzard to investigate?
Meeting Hall's the biggest building in town. It wasn't hard to find.
Lincoln?
Fast asleep at Aaron's. Gracie read him a book and he conked out 10 minutes ago.
Negan looked between them.
Hang on. What the hell is happening right now?
Mommy!
Teddy ran over and jumped into Talisa's arms.
Holy hell. Holy goddamn shit. You have got to be kidding.
Hey!
I'm sorry, little man, but normal words are just not gonna cut it in this scenario.
Negan shook his head as he stared at them.
The whole time, sassy pants, you let me go on and on busting your balls for breaking Eugene's heart, and the whole time you were actually shacking up with him and screwing his brains out.
Excuse me, my son is right here. Watch your mouth.
You got any idea what I just said, kid?
Not really.
There you go.
Look, as obnoxious as he is, we've got bigger issues right now. We're never going to keep everyone warm enough in here without a fire.
Yeah, and we should leave before the temperature drops any lower.
Aaron's house is the closest. It's a pretty straight shot.
Okay, folks. Contingency plan. We're going to Aaron's house. It'll be tight quarters, but we'll make it work.
10 minutes later, they organized the group of 15 people in a line, keeping the young ones towards the middle and giving everyone a rope to hold onto to keep them together. Eugene headed for the front of the group with Teddy riding on his back. Talisa was bringing up the rear and nodded to him as he made to open the door.
Seriously?
They all looked back to where Negan was still chained to the beam, and he glared up at them.
Not one of you assholes is going to unchain me.
We could tell Michonne it was an accident when she gets back.
Gabriel met her eye with a wry smile, but then sighed and shook his head. He walked over to undo the lock on the chain. They all headed out into the bitter wind. The snow was so thick it was like a wall of white around them.
Keep hold of the rope. It's a straight shot. If we stick close and move slow, we'll make it to our destination post-haste.
Suddenly, a sound came floating to them over the wind, a dog barking frantically. Judith dropped the rope and ran out into the storm.
Judith!
Sadiq tried to grab her and pull her back, but she disappeared into the swirling snow.
Judith!
Negan echoed, and he dropped the rope to run after her.
Negan, no!
Rosita yelled, but he was gone too. Talisa took a step in their direction, but Rosita, who was in front of her, grabbed her arm.
Do not let go!
We have to get to Aaron's. We'll get the others to safety and then establish a search and rescue protocol.
They struggled through the ever-deepening snow until the light from Aaron's house became visible. A few more tense minutes and they all collapsed onto the porch, which was already filling with snowdrifts. The door opened and Nora and Laura came running out to pull people inside. Laura took Eugene's arm to help him over the threshold, but he stepped back.
What's up?
Judith took off into the storm after Daryl's dog, and Negan subsequently followed suit in an apparent effort to save her.
Judith!
Sadiq yelled into the storm from the edge of the porch, looking out desperately into the swirling white.
It's no use. Without a guide, we're not going to find anything, and other people are just going to get lost in the process.
We can't just leave her out there.
I suggest we search Aaron's home for any implements we can use to secure ourselves and mark our path. Ropes, cords, and the like. Then we enact a system of creating an anchor line from one house to the next, giving us the capability to search each one down the line and its surrounding area safely.
Yeah, that could work. Let's get moving.
It took them 10 minutes to collect all the ropes, cords, and anything they might be able to tie off from Aaron's home.
This isn't gonna get us very far.
We can search each house as we go for more. Now we have to decide who's heading out first, because we can secure them to a rope so they can get back. but they're going to be going out blind as far as their destination.
I'll do it. I have the most comprehensive knowledge of the layout of our community. In fact, I've previously postulated that I could, at this point, walk the perimeter with my eyes closed. So I guess it's time to put that theory to the test.
No, Eugene. We need you here. God forbid something else goes wrong with the fireplace here, or any other number of scenarios. We need you here to hold down the fort. I'll go.
Are you sure? I'm good to do it. I've done enough patrol to find my way around.
Are you crazy? You're not about to go wandering around in a blizzard. You're 6 months pregnant.
I concur with the sentiment.
You know as touching as this whole "who's gonna brave the storm to save my ass" thing is.
They all looked up as Negan appeared through the darkness carrying Judith in his arms, with the dog trotting along beside them.
I figured we'd make it a little easier and just come to you.
Negan collapsed on the steps, and Gabriel moved to pick up Judith and carry her into the house, and the dog followed behind them. Talisa moved to Negan and noticed blood staining his pants near the knee. She crouched down as best as she could with her growing belly and examined it.
What'd you do?
Piece of wood caught me. Hell if I know where it came from.
He winced as Talisa pulled back the ripped piece of material and saw the chunk of wood sticking out just above his knee like he'd said.
Okay then, let's get you inside and warmed up, and I'll have Sadiq take a look at that.
Eugene came down the steps and pulled Negan's arm over his shoulders, helping him to his feet.
Full transparency, our discussion when you materialized was in no way about your rescue. I can say with absolute certainty that none of the people gathered in this residence would shed a single iota of their saltwater reserves upon your passing. Though I do acknowledge your self-sacrifice and bravery in regards to the rescue of our own Miss Grimes, and for that you have my gratitude.
Negan smirked at him.
I really truly did miss that, Eugene.
Talisa was sitting in the chair in front of Negan's bed. Sadiq had removed the wood from his leg and cleaned the wound a few hours prior, and he was now sleeping restlessly. After another few minutes, he slowly opened his eyes and looked over at her.
Gotta say, sassy pants, waking up to you is quite the treat. I'm a little jealous that Eugene gets to do it daily. To what do I owe the honor?
It's been decided that leaving you unsupervised isn't advisable, so we've scheduled round-the-clock guard duty until we can get you contained again.
Damn. You risk certain death to save the boss's kid, and it still doesn't earn you any brownie points. That's cold.
No one said it didn't earn you any brownie points.
Talisa reached over for the mug sitting next to her.
I brought you hot cocoa.
He smirked and reached out to take the mug from her. He took a long sip and then leaned back against his pillows again.
How's Jude?
She's fine. Her toes and fingers were a little blue, and she's going to have some pretty raw cheeks for a couple of days, but she's downstairs playing with the boys right now and telling them stories about her harrowing adventure to save Dog.
Negan chuckled and shook his head before looking over at her curiously.
When you say boys, you mean your boys?
I do, along with RJ.
And I see you've got another one cooking. I was starting to wonder, but it's never polite to ask.
She shook her head and sighed, giving him an exasperated look.
So you and Eugene have really been together this whole time. Damn, I feel like an idiot for not putting it together. The more I think about it, the more the pieces were right in front of me, weren't they? You weren't even that subtle about it. The whole Eugene's perfectly happy with how things have gone down, and we're in a good place. You practically laid it out for me.
Well, I knew you'd never pick up on it, so I figured I'd have some fun.
How'd you know that?
Because you aren't the kind of person who believes that true forgiveness and reconciliation can happen for people.
Negan huffed, looking down at his mug.
Yeah, you got me there.
They sat there quietly for a few minutes before Talisa finally spoke again.
Why'd you do it?
She's a good kid. A real spitfire, you know? She's got a lot of Rick in her. The good parts, not the prickish ones. And she reminds me.
Of Carl. Yeah, we all say that.
Well, anyway, with that and all, I figured Michonne has already lost enough. It was the least I could do.
Talisa leaned forward and put her elbows against her knees so she could look at his face.
Negan?
He finally looked up to meet her eye.
What's going on in your head right now? What are you doing? You act like you don't give a shit and go out of your way to antagonize people, and then you turn around, save Judith, and act like you genuinely care about what happens to the people here.
Certain people here.
Negan gave her a significant look. She held his gaze for a moment, and then he sighed and looked away.
I don't know what I'm doing, Sassy Pants. It's just hard not to care when you're here day in and day out. I meant what I said all those years ago when I told you I wasn't a monster at heart. This world just got me so fucked up. I don't know. Maybe I'm finally starting to see another way. The damn world Carl was talking about.
You really mean that?
I don't know what I mean. I'm just figuring this shit out as I go.
Just like the rest of us?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, for what it's worth, today you get to be a hero. Enjoy it while it lasts.
Oh yeah? You gonna name that bun in your oven after me then?
Don't push your luck.
He chuckled and shook his head again as she headed for the door.
Hey, Doc. I know I come off as an asshole more than anything else, but I wanted to say thanks for always treating me like a person, even back when you hated my guts. You're a hella psychiatrist, Dr. Prince.
It's actually Dr. Prince Porter.
Damn, that's right. I forgot you guys made it official. You're married to Eugene. That's some crazy shit.
Made his wedding ring out of one of the shell casings from that last stand in the field, too.
No shit. Damn Sassy Pants. That's badass. You know, he's a completely different person now than he was the last time I saw him. Guess you really were exactly what he needed.
It goes both ways. It took me a while to figure out, but sometimes your second chapter can be even more beautiful than your first.
You think I might ever get one of those second chapters?
I think you're in it right now, but where it goes from here is up to you.
Talisa walked back down the stairs to find Eugene standing by the window looking outside into the early morning twilight.
Snow's all but stopped.
She walked up behind him and wrapped her arms around him.
Looks like we made it through. Give the sun a few hours to charge those panels and we should be back in business.
Eugene turned so he could wrap his arms around her as well.
How's Negan?
He's fine physically. Still having a bit of an existential crisis about his place in this world, though.
How so?
Well, it's obvious he's got a soft spot for Judith, seeing as he literally risked his life to save her. But I think it's more than that. I think part of him wants to start over, but he's not sure where to start.
I have to admit, no matter how many times he chooses to pull this white knight savior routine, I can't see any scenario in which I'd rest easy if he were to be allowed to be at large in our community.
Of course you wouldn't. And you shouldn't. Just because he wants a new start doesn't mean the past is erased. I doubt he'll ever garner enough trust to earn a blank slate with anyone around here, but that especially goes for Michonne.
Full transparency. When I was made aware that he'd been having conversations with Teddy, it's entirely possible that I may have threatened to end his life in the most inventive way I could devise if he ever even considered going near him again. I apologize if you're unhappy with that.
On the contrary, I'm glad you did. And honestly, you going all fiercely protective Papa Bear, kinda sexy.
Oh, is it now?
Yeah, I mean, If I wasn't already halfway through cooking up this kid of yours, I might let you knock me up all over again.
Eugene smiled and leaned down to give her a kiss. As he did, they both heard the sound of the gates opening and looked up quickly through the window. They saw a small group of people coming through it, and Judith, who had been sitting onto the couch, broke into a huge grin. She ran out through the snow and jumped into Michonne's arms.
Hey, baby girl, what happened?
Michonne looked at her, carefully touching her raw pink cheeks.
It's just cold.
Michonne laughed as RJ charged out of the house and into her arms.
Hey, buddy.
Teddy and Lincoln followed behind him and came over to Talisa and Eugene.
Hi, Aunt Michonne.
Hey, Link, looks like you guys got some snow.
Yeah, it blew all around, like this.
Lincoln waved his hands around wildly and Michonne laughed again.
Mommy, look! It's Aunt Carol!
Teddy pointed to the side where Carol and Daryl stood.
Hey there, Teddy. You're getting huge.
Carol picked him up and hugged him.
I'll be 6 in 2 days!
2 days? Well, looks like we got here just in time for your party.
Who's that?
Teddy pointed over Carol's shoulder to where Daryl and Lydia were both standing.
Well, that's your Uncle Daryl and our friend Lydia. They came here for a little bit a few months ago, remember?
Yeah!
We're all hoping maybe you'd let us stay here with you guys for a while. What do you say?
Yeah! You guys can come stay at our house!
Everyone laughed at that.
Not sure we have enough room for that little man, but I'm sure we'll find somewhere great for them to stay.
The house across from us is still, as of yet, unoccupied.
Works for us.
Carol turned back to Teddy with a mischievous smile.
There is one thing I think you need to help me with before we go, though.
She sat him back down on the ground and proceeded to pick up a handful of snow, packing it tightly.
You know what this is called?
Teddy shook his head.
This is called a snowball, and I think it's really important that you take it from me and throw it right at your Uncle Daryl's head.
Teddy grinned and immediately lobbed the snowball at Daryl, who ducked and quickly scooped up a handful of snow, throwing it in retaliation. Within seconds, a full-blown snowball fight had broken out with children and adults alike shrieking and laughing as the snow flew around them. A few hours later, Talisa slowly shut the door of her boys' bedroom, smiling as she watched them sleeping snugly in their beds. She turned and walked back down the hall towards the living room, where Eugene was sitting on the couch, hunched over the coffee table, with something electronic disassembled in front of him.
What you doing, Haircut?
Daryl was able to procure an old RC car from one of the houses he was scavenging in, and I believe I may be able to get it operational in time for Teddy's party the day after tomorrow. Boy's first remote control vehicle is quite the rite of passage.
Sure is. And you're the best dad ever for finding him one. He's going to love it.
She leaned down to kiss him and then walked towards the door.
Where are you off to at this hour?
Just across the street. I want to check in with Carol, see how she's doing.
Her arrival here, sans Ezekiel, would tend to indicate the answer to that question is not well.
Hence my checking in.
She put on her coat and boots and headed out the doors. The night was cold and clear. The snow sparkled in the moonlight and covered every surface, giving the place an almost magical feel. It crunched under her feet as she walked across the road towards the small house that had once belonged to Rosita, Eugene, Abraham, and Tara. She hadn't been inside it in years, since before Abraham and Glenn had died. She walked to the door and knocked softly. After a minute, Carol opened it and smiled at her.
Hey, neighbor.
She stepped back so Talisa could enter. It looked almost exactly the same as it had when she'd last been there. The only differences being the eclectic grouping of furniture now occupying the living room space, and the fact that the walls had been painted a unique shade of dark purple, no doubt touches left by Anne, its most recent occupant. Lydia was standing at the kitchen island pouring a glass of juice, and when she saw her, she seemed to shrink back slightly.
Oh, sorry. I can go to my room.
She put the pitcher back in the refrigerator and headed for the hallway.
You don't have to. This is your home.
Thanks, but I'm kinda tired. I think I'll go to bed.
She walked quickly down the hall and into the room that used to belong to Eugene, shutting the door behind her. Carol walked over to the kitchen and took the kettle off the stove.
Don't mind her. She's still getting used to the whole being around people thing. Tea?
Please.
Carol set about making it.
How's she doing with it all?
Not great. On our way to Hilltop, she went off on her own, and I found her trying to get a frozen walker to bite her. Said we'd all be better off without her.
Carol paused slightly.
That what happened was her fault.
I can see how she'd think that.
I told her it's not true. Told her she deserves her life as much as anyone, and I think she's finally starting to believe it. She's going to be okay.
How about you?
Carol paused with her hand on the kettle and didn't look up as she spoke.
Well, I'm here, and Ezekiel's at Hilltop. What does that tell you?
I'm sorry.
Nothing to be sorry for.
Carol pulled the kettle off the stove and got 2 mugs.
It happened. Nothing we can do about it now.
You know, if it makes you feel any better, loss of a child is one of the leading causes of divorce. It's usually just too hard for people to come back from.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Carol looked up as she quickly wiped away the tears that came to her eyes.
I just couldn't look at him anymore. Everything about him just reminded me of, I'll never be sorry for what we had, but it's just not the same now. It's broken, and I can't keep pretending we can fix it.
I understand. And for what it's worth, I'm really glad you still see us as a place you can come when you need time to heal.
Of course I do. You're my family.
The women shared a warm look, and then Carol stepped back, picking up her cup of tea and taking a sip as she looked around.
You realize the last time you and I lived here at the same time was right when you and Eugene first made things official.
Oh my God, you're right. Wow, that seems like about 100 lifetimes ago.
You're telling me...
Nice to know. No matter what happens, we always have this place to come back to, huh?
You know, leaving the kingdom with everyone put something in perspective for me more than it ever has, as far as that's concerned.
Oh yeah? What's that?
That home isn't a place. Home is the people.
When I Fall is a work of fiction based on AMC's The Walking Dead. Any characters not created by the author are the property of said company. The story will continue in the next chapter.